Tell me a little about yourself. I attended MIT when I majored in electrical engineering. My hobbies include basketball, reading novels, and hiking. Tell me a little about yourself. I grew up in Korea and studied accounting. I worked at an accounting firm for 2 years and I enjoyed bicycling and jogging. Tell me a little about yourself. I'm an easygoing person that works well with everyone. I enjoy being around different types of people and I like to always challenge myself to improve at everything I do. Tell me a little about yourself. I'm a hard worker and I like to take on a variety of challenges. I like pets and in my spare time I like to relax and read the newspaper. Tell me a little about yourself. I've always liked being balanced. When I work, I want to work hard, and outside of work, I like to engage in my personal activities such as golfing and fishing. What are your strengths? I believe my strongest trait is my attention to detail. This trait has helped me tremendously in this field of work. What are your strengths? I've always been a great team player. I'm good at keeping a team together and producing quality work in a team environment. What are your strengths? After having worked for a couple of years, I realized my strength is accomplishing a large amount of work within a short period of time. I get things done on time and my managers always appreciated it. What are your strengths? My strongest trait is in customer service. I listen and pay close attention to my customers' needs, and I make sure that they are more than satisfied. What are your weaknesses? This might be bad, but in college, I found that I procrastinated a lot. I realized this problem, and I'm working on it by finishing my work ahead of schedule. What are your weaknesses? I feel my weakness is not being detail-oriented enough. I'm a person that wants to accomplish as much as possible. I realize this hurts the quality, and I'm currently working on finding a balance between quality and quantity. What are your weaknesses? I feel my English ability is my weakest trait. I know this is only a temporary problem. I'm definitely studying hard to communicate more effectively. What are your weaknesses? The weakest trait I struggled with was not asking for help. I always try to solve my own problems instead of asking a coworker who might know the answer. This would save me more time and I would be more efficient. I'm working on knowing when it would be beneficial to ask for help. What are your short-term goals? My short-term goal is to find a position where I can use the knowledge and strengths that I have. I want to partake in the growth and the success of the company I work for. What are your short-term goals? I've learned the basics of marketing during my first 2 years. I want to take the next step by taking on challenging projects. My short-term goal is to grow as a marketing analyst. What are your short-term goals? As a program manager, it's important to understand all areas of the project. Although I have the technical abilities to be successful in my job, I want to learn different software applications that might help in work efficiency. What are your short-term goals? My goal is to always perform at an exceptional level, but a short-term goal I have set for myself is to implement a process that increases work efficiency. What are your long-term goals? I would like to become a director or higher. This might be a little ambitious, but I know I'm smart and I'm willing to work hard. What are your long-term goals? After a successful career, I would love to write a book on office efficiency. I think working smart is important, and I have many ideas. So after gaining more experience, I'm going to try to write a book. What are your long-term goals? I've always loved to teach. I like to grow newer employees and help coworkers wherever I can. So in the future, I would love to be an instructor. What are your long-term goals? I want to become a valued employee of a company. I want to make a difference, and I'm willing to work hard to achieve this goal. I don't want a regular career. I want a special career that I can be proud of. What do you want to be doing 5 years from now? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? In 5 years, I see myself as a valued employee of a company. I want to be an expert at my position and start training to be a manager. What do you want to be doing 5 years from now? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? In 5 years, I want to be a senior analyst. I want my expertise to directly impact the company in a positive way. What do you want to be doing 5 years from now? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? My goal is to become a lead in 5 years. Although not everyone gets promoted to this level, I believe I can achieve this goal through hard work. What do you want to be doing 5 years from now? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Although I really enjoy working hands-on as a mechanical engineer, I want to eventually become a manager. I want to continue gaining experience, and after learning many different aspects, I see myself in management. If you could change one thing about your personality, what would it be and why? I get easily frustrated at people who don't work very hard, but I know people have different work styles and different work habits. So if I could change something, I would like to be more understanding. If you could change one thing about your personality, what would it be and why? I have high expectations, and I have these expectations on others. I think if I was more understanding, I could help other workers improve instead of being disappointed. If you could change one thing about your personality, what would it be and why? I would like to be more of a risk taker. I always do my work and complete it at an exceptional level, but sometimes taking a risk can make the work even better. I'm working on this by thinking the issue through and weighing the pros and the cons. If you could change one thing about your personality, what would it be and why? I would like to be more of an extrovert. I'm a little quiet and a little closer on the introvert side. I would like to change this because I would appear more friendly. What does success mean to you? To me, success means to have a goal, plan the steps to achieve the goal, implement the plan, and finally achieve the goal. What does success mean to you? Success means to achieve a goal I have set for myself. What does success mean to you? Success means to produce high-quality work before the deadline. What does success mean to you? Success to me is knowing that my contributions positively impacted my company. What does failure mean to you? Failure is when I do not reach my goal. What does failure mean to you? I think to fail at something is making a mistake and not learning anything from it. What does failure mean to you? I think failure is not reaching your potential. If you do not use the resources you have and the resources around you, that's failure because the work or goal could have been done better. Are you an organized person? I'm a very organized person. I like to know exactly what I'm going to do for the day and the week. So I outline my task and organize my workload. By doing so, I can organize my time and my work better. Are you an organized person? I believe I'm very organized. I like to organize my work by priority and deadlines. I do this so that I can produce the highest quality work in the amount of time I have. Are you an organized person? I think I'm quite organized. I like my documents and papers in a way where I can retrieve them quickly. I also organize my work in a way where it's easy to see exactly what I'm doing. Are you an organized person? Organization has always come easy to me. I naturally organize things like my desk, time, assignments, and work without thinking about them. This helps me tremendously during times when I'm approaching a deadline.
In what ways are you organized and disorganized? I'm very organized with my time and work, but my desk is a little disorganized. In what ways are you organized and disorganized? Since I work with many files, I like to keep my desk organized. I always have everything in a certain place so I can find things easier. The area I'm disorganized is probably my computer desktop. I usually have so many icons everywhere. I should organize it a little, but I've never needed to. In what ways are you organized and disorganized? I organize my schedule the best. I'm used to many meetings, so it's important for me to be organized with my schedule and time. The area I need to improve is probably my file cabinet. I started to sort things alphabetically, but when I'm busy, I start putting things in there. It started getting hard to find things, but this is something I'm going to fix. Do you manage your time well? In what ways do you manage your time well? I know I manage my time well because I'm never late to work and I've never missed a deadline. Do you manage your time well? In what ways do you manage your time well? I'm good at managing my time. I stay both busy at home and at work, and being able to manage my time is necessary for me to do everything that I want to do. Do you manage your time well? In what ways do you manage your time well? I manage my time well by planning out what I have to do for the whole week. It keeps me on track and even helps me to be more efficient. How do you handle change? Are you good at dealing with change? I'm good at dealing with change because I'm a quick thinker. If new information makes us change our marketing strategy, for example, I'll be quick to analyze the information and create a plan to make the changes. How do you handle change? Are you good at dealing with change? I've experienced many changes previously. I handle the situation by quickly coming up to speed on the changes and applying myself to make them a success. How do you handle change? Are you good at dealing with change? I'm good at dealing with change because I'm flexible with my work and abilities. I'm not afraid of learning new and difficult things. Whenever I'm faced with a change, I'll put in extra effort to make the change a smooth transition. How do you handle change? Are you good at dealing with change? I handle changes smoothly. Whenever there's a change of any sort, I analyze the situation and I always try to find ways I can contribute to the change in a positive way. How do you make important decisions? I make important decisions by examining all the details and then weighing the pros and cons for each decision. How do you make important decisions? I gather all the information I can find, and based on the information, I'll come to the best decision I can. If I know a coworker was in a similar situation, I wouldn't hesitate to find out the results to make sure my decision is the best one. How do you make important decisions? I believe all decisions should be made by having all the information. If you are missing an important detail, it's easy to make a bad decision. So I make important decisions by having all of the information. How do you make important decisions? Important decisions are made by knowledge through information and wisdom through experience. I'll gather all the information I can and then apply my experience while analyzing the information. With this combination, I'm confident I'll make the correct, important decisions. Do you work well under pressure? I work well under pressure because I use the pressure to help me work more efficiently. Do you work well under pressure? I enjoy working under pressure because I believe it helps me grow. In my previous experience, I always worked well during deadlines, and I always learned how to work more efficiently afterwards. Do you work well under pressure? I work well under pressure because I don't panic. I maintain self-control and work as efficiently as possible. In all my experiences, I did well, and I always enjoyed the experience. Do you work well under pressure? During times of pressure, I try to prioritize and plan as much as I can. After I'm organized, I really just put my head down and work hard in a smart way. I don't let the pressure affect me, so I believe I work well under pressure. Which category do you fall under? A person who anticipates a problem well, or a person who reacts to a problem well? I think it's good to be good at both, but in my experience, I realized I react to problems better. Which category do you fall under? person who anticipates a problem well, or a person who reacts to a problem well? Whenever I'm faced with a new problem, I know what steps to take to deal with the problem. Which category do you fall under? A person who anticipates a problem well, or a person who reacts to a problem well? I believe I'm strong in both, but I try to work more on anticipating problems. In this profession, it's very important to anticipate a problem and fix it before it becomes a real problem. Which category do you fall under? A person who anticipates a problem well, or a person who reacts to a problem well? I'm good at dealing with problems, so I'm a person who reacts to a problem well. Are you a risk taker, or do you like to stay away from risks? I consider myself to be in the middle, but if I were to choose from my past experience, I would think I would call myself a careful risk taker. Are you a risk taker, or do you like to stay away from risks? I'm reliable and believe in stability and guarantees. My work will be based on facts without assumptions or guesses, so I tend to stay away from risks. Are you a risk taker, or do you like to stay away from risks? I think it's important to take some risks. I keep the options open, and if the reward justifies the risk, I would definitely try. So I'm more of a risk taker. Are you a risk taker, or do you like to stay away from risks? I take risks because through planning and working smart, it's possible to reduce some of the risk. So if there's a reasonable chance of success, I would take the opportunity. Why should I hire you? I'm a perfect fit for this position. I have the experience and the traits you are looking for. On top of that, I'm a great team player that gets along with everyone. Why should I hire you? I should be hired because I'm efficient, smart, and friendly. I'm great at solving problems and love challenges. Most importantly, I'm dependable and reliable. Why should I hire you? There are two reasons why I should be hired. First, my qualifications match your needs perfectly. Second, I'm excited and passionate about this industry and will always give 100%. Why should I hire you? You should hire me because I'm confident and I'll do the best job. I have proven a track record of success starting from high school until now. I'm responsible and smart. Why should I hire you? This position requires someone that will work well without supervision. I know how to manage my time and organize my work well, so I'm confident I'll be the best candidate for this position. Tell me about cues. Tell me about a time you made a mistake. I was given a project to complete in a week. I understood the project, but I misinterpreted one section. After completing the project, I was told by my manager that it was done incorrectly. I really made a mistake by assuming incorrectly in one of the sections instead of asking for clarification. I learned not to assume through the mistake I made. Tell me about a time you made a good decision. Tell me about a time you found a solution to a problem. During my last project, we ran into a difficult problem. This was a high priority, so everyone was instructed to find a solution. I started looking for more information on the internet. I even talked to a different manager on a different team. This helped tremendously and our problem was solved. I made a decision to use every resource I could find, and in the end, it solved the problem. Tell me about a time you made a poor decision. When I was doing an audit for a small company, there was a problem with one of the accounts. I tried to contact the company to ask questions, but they were not there. I made the decision to keep looking for the answer. 4 hours later, they returned my call and I realized it was a simple typo. I wasted 4 hours of my day. In this case, I was too sensitive about detail. So, I learned how not to be so detailed and picky. Tell me about a time you fired someone. In my last position, I had 4 people reporting to me. One of my direct reports failed to show up on time, complete assignments, and really didn't care about the work. I tried to encourage the employee, assigned different types of work to him, and even sat down and showed him how to do things. After 2 months of trying, I had to let him go. Tell me about a time you fired someone. Our company was downsizing and I had to let 2 people go. It's easier when a person does a terrible job, but if everyone is doing their job, it's more difficult. I had to select the bottom 2 performers and explain why they were being let go. Tell me about a time you fired someone. I received a resume, but it didn't have all of our requirements. I initially thought she wasn't a fit, but after looking over the education background and the previous work experience, I thought this person would have more potential than other candidates. After interviewing her, we extended an offer. She was a quick learner and performed at an exceptional level. Sometimes it's important to see potential, and in this instance, it was a great hire. Tell me about a time you failed to complete an assignment on time. One time, I had a project that was due on Tuesday. On Friday, I analyzed our progress and I was ahead of schedule. I didn't have to work over the weekend to complete the assignment. On Monday, my manager was sick, so I had to attend several meetings that took all day. Because of that, I didn't complete my assignment until Wednesday. Now, I tried to finish my assignments a day or half a day early because something unexpected could come up.
Tell me about a time you found a solution to save the company money. I wasn't really in any position to save the company money, but I have one small example. When we were a smaller company, we didn't get a significant corporate discount on our hardware. After we grew in size, we qualified for the larger discount, but nobody realized that we now met the quota. I pointed this out and we started saving 5% more on our hardware. Tell me about a time you aimed too high. We had a new project that I was interested in. Even though I was busy, I volunteered to take on the assignment. I had to work so much more. Although I managed to complete the assignment, it really burned me out. I feel I aimed too high and I would have benefited by doing a better job on my current assignments instead of wanting more challenges. Tell me about a time you aimed too low. There was a new project that I was interested in. Because I had other responsibilities, I didn't volunteer. I wasn't too busy, but I was worried I wouldn't complete the assignment on time. I realized I missed a wonderful opportunity because I aimed too low. Tell me about a time you made a great sale. I had a customer come in that was a little rude. He had many questions and cut me off very frequently. I stayed patient and explained everything to his satisfaction. He ended up representing a medium-sized business that required a large order. I feel this was a great sale because I treated this customer with respect and patience. Tell me about a time you went over budget. During our marketing campaign, we realized how many customers we were gaining through the radio advertisements. Although we didn't have budget for more radio advertisement, I still made the decision to place our ad on 3 more stations. We increased sales by 25% for that month, but I ended up going over budget by 5%. What extracurricular activities were you involved in? I was involved in our school newspaper. I was one of the writers for 3 years. What extracurricular activities were you involved in? I was very active in our university politics. In my senior year, I was the vice president of the university. What extracurricular activities were you involved in? Besides studying, I played baseball for our school. I really like to study and to stay physically active. What extracurricular activities were you involved in? I was involved with the group that helped awareness of environmental problems such as pollution. I was on a team that educated people about driving alternatives such as buses and carpooling. Why did you choose your major? Why did you choose to major in history? I majored in history because I enjoy learning about the past. I always try to apply my history knowledge in many things I do. This knowledge allowed me to study many different experiences. Why did you choose your major? Why did you choose to major in history? I majored in English because it was a major that would make me more skilled in reading, writing, and communicating. I believe English is a tool that's used everywhere, so I thought it was the best major for me. Why did you choose your major? Why did you choose to major in history? I majored in psychology because I was interested in seeing how the mind works. I also found it useful because it helped me to work with people better by understanding differences in everyone. Why did you choose your major? Why did you choose to major in history? I majored in biology because I initially wanted to go to med school. Although I decided not to go to med school, I still wanted to complete my bachelor's degree. If you redo college again, what would you major in? I didn't realize I was so interested in computers until I graduated college. So if I could select a different major, I would major in computer science. If you redo college again, what would you major in? I like the fact I completed my degree in English, but if I could redo my college again, I would like to double major in English and business. If you redo college again, what would you major in? I would like to have majored in engineering. I have a strong interest in hardware, so I believe engineering would have helped. If you redo college again, what would you major in? I would choose to major in marketing in the business school. I really enjoy this type of work, and having more background would have helped me excel more. What course did you like the most? What was your favorite subject? I really enjoyed an English writing class I took. This class taught me to write more clearly and concisely. What course did you like the most? What was your favorite subject? My favorite subject was physics. It really helped my logic abilities, and I used this knowledge to solve problems in a variety of ways. What course did you like the most? What was your favorite subject? There was a speech class I took that I really enjoyed. It helped me to speak in groups better, and I learned to speak professionally in front of an audience. What course did you like the most? What was your favorite subject? My favorite subject was applied science. I really enjoy learning different ways of applying science into ordinary things. What course did you like the least? What course did you struggle in the most? I didn't enjoy history that much. It wasn't that difficult, but it didn't allow me to think creatively. Most of the classes I took were about memorizing dates and facts, so history is my least favorite subject. What course did you like the least? What course did you struggle in the most? I struggled in a music class the most. I really enjoy listening to music, so I tried to learn a little about it, but it was a disaster. My tone was off, and I couldn't tell if something was flat or not. What course did you like the least? What course did you struggle in the most? My least favorite class was probably poetry. During that course, I struggled writing a real poem. I realized I'm not a poet. What course did you like the least? What course did you struggle in the most? I disliked my geography class. It wasn't difficult, but I simply didn't find it very interesting.
How will your performance in your worst class affect your performance on this job? No matter if I liked the class or not, I always tried my hardest. As a result, the lowest grade I ever received was a B. So I'm confident that I'll be good at any task. How will your performance in your worst class affect your performance on this job? My performance in my worst class will positively impact my performance on this job. I struggled with a logic class, but I studied harder, researched more information, and I never gave up. How would your best friend describe you? Oh, let's see. I think my best friend would describe me as honest, detailed, and very organized. How would your best friend describe you? I think my best friend would say that I'm very responsible. Whenever our group of friends had to coordinate an activity, they always relied on me. How would your best friend describe you? My best friend would probably say that I'm warm, friendly, and understanding. How would your professor describe you? I think my professor would describe me as a great team member and consistent in my schoolwork. How would your professor describe you? My professor told me one time that I was like a fireball. I always had a good attitude that positively affected other students in group activities. How would your professor describe you? My professor always told me that I was very creative. He liked my papers because it showed that I really thought about the problem and tackled it in a different way. How would your mother describe you? I think my mother would say I'm very friendly because I had a lot of friends, and that I'm very focused because I always finish what I start. How would your mother describe you? Since I was the oldest out of 3, I think my mother would describe me as responsible and someone who is looked to for answers. How would your mother describe you? My mother told me I was always smart. When I was younger, she was surprised to see A's in my report card. After a while, she would be surprised when I didn't receive an A. Why are you applying for a job that you didn't major in? Why didn't you pursue a career in your major? I majored in English because I liked to write. Because I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, I majored in something I was very interested in. After working for a year on the marketing team, I realized that this is what I want to be doing. Why are you applying for a job that you didn't major in? Why didn't you pursue a career in your major? I majored in history, but during my senior year, I had an opportunity to work at an accounting firm. After seeing firsthand at the work they were doing, I really wanted to become an accountant. Why are you applying for a job that you didn't major in? Why didn't you pursue a career in your major? I was planning on going to dental school, so I majored in biology. After working with computers, I realized how interesting and challenging it was. So I studied computers on the side because I wanted a career working with computers. During college, how did you spend your summer vacations? My last 2 summers of college, I did an intern for a consulting firm. I gained experience working on office solutions for large companies. During college, how did you spend your summer vacations? I have a strong interest in traveling, so I used my summer to travel. I went to Europe, Australia, Brazil, and China. During college, how did you spend your summer vacations? Every summer, I took extra English classes. I also took some drawing classes because it's one of my hobbies. So I spent my summers learning more things. During college, how did you spend your summer vacations? My first 2 summers, I had to work to save money for tuition, but after saving enough money, I had a free summer. I actually ended up taking some computer classes to prepare myself for the business world. These days, it's a requirement to know computers, so I prepared for that. What did you learn from your internship? In my final summer vacation, I had the opportunity to work as an intern for a public accounting firm. It was only 3 months, but I learned a lot about performing quarterly tax services for small and medium-sized companies. I also learned to deal with time pressure and learned how to prioritize work to be more efficient. It was a great experience that I know will help me when I start my career. Did you do any internships? Yes, I did 2 internships. The first internship was for Johnson & Johnson. I worked in the distribution team, and my second internship was for Starbucks. At Starbucks, I had the opportunity to work on overseas venture. Did you do any internships? I did 1 internship for IBM. I was on the development team creating applications for business solutions. Did you do any internships? I love to travel, and I realize that when I start my career, I won't be able to travel for long durations. So I used my summers to travel a lot. I spent 1 summer in Europe for 2 months. I spent another summer traveling between China and some Southeast Asian countries, and finally, I took a road trip through the United States. If you could learn something such as a new skill, what would it be? What's the next thing you want to learn? I would love to learn more about auditing. As a tax accountant, I primarily work on tax, but I like all aspects of accounting, and I think auditing would be very interesting. If you could learn something such as a new skill, what would it be? What's the next thing you want to learn? The next thing I want to learn is how to make web pages. I think this skill can be used anywhere. If I want a personal website, I would make it myself. And if my group at work needed an internal website to organize activities, I would be able to make one. If you could learn something such as a new skill, what would it be? What's the next thing you want to learn? I want to learn the different ways to market globally. In my marketing team, I learned everything about marketing on a local level, but I would really love to learn more about marketing to different countries. If you could start your career over again, what would you do differently? I started my career at a small company. I feel I would have benefited more if I started at a larger company. A large company usually provides training that I didn't receive, so I would like to have started my career in a larger company. If you could start your career over again, what would you do differently? I didn't know how much I liked working with computers until I finished college. If I had known earlier, I would have liked to have worked with computers earlier in my career. During your performance reviews, what criticism do you hear the most? I heard that I need to be more proactive. I always perform at an exceptional level, but I didn't volunteer for additional work. I wasn't accustomed to it, so I'm glad that I received this criticism. I now practice keeping an eye out for additional projects I can take on. During your performance reviews, what criticism do you hear the most? During my review, my manager told me to voice my opinions more frequently. He always liked my suggestions when I told him, but in group meetings, I usually let my manager speak. Now, I feel more confident that I can suggest my ideas in groups. During your performance reviews, what criticism do you hear the most? My manager told me that I should send more updates. He told me I did my projects well and that I was never late, but he would like more updates so he can report to his manager.
Tell me about your last 3 positions. I've only had one position. In my last position, I've worked as a marketing analyst for South American markets. I've worked closely with partners in Chile and Argentina. Tell me about your last 3 positions. I've only held 2 different positions. In my first job, I was a lab manager for ABC Software Company. I monitored 50 computers and performed diagnostics regularly. In my last position, I was a network engineer, fixing network problems and troubleshooting bottlenecks. Tell me about your last 3 positions. I worked as a translator for the King County Courthouse. Afterwards, I worked as a translator for hospitals. My last position was translating help documents for a software company. Tell me about your last position. What did you do and how did you do it? Include the people you worked for and the people you work with. I was a staff auditor for a small accounting firm. I performed audits for small to medium-sized businesses. This involved meeting the clients and retrieving data required to complete the audit. I worked closely with my supervisor that presented my findings of the audit to the clients. Tell me about your last position. What did you do and how did you do it? Include the people you worked for and the people you work with. I worked for a large insurance company as an agent. I made sales to new customers and provided customer service to existing customers. I worked with 3 other people in my group and we helped each other by sharing ideas and experiences. Tell me about your last position. What did you do and how did you do it? Include the people you worked for and the people you work with. I was a program manager for a manufacturing company. I was in charge of cost analysis concerning different quantities of manufacturing. I also worked on planning the procedure for the next deliverables. What is your management philosophy? I think management should provide guidance, direction, leadership, and finally setting an example to subordinates. What is your management philosophy? My management philosophy is to provide an environment that leads to productive employees. I achieve this through conflict management, keeping the morale high, providing encouragement to low performers, and also rewarding the strong performers. What is your management philosophy? I believe in setting an example. My favorite managers in the past were the ones that worked smart and efficiently. I learned a great deal and found that leading by example is a strong way to influence directs to work diligently. What was your favorite job? My favorite job was working as a financial analyst. I wanted to pursue other areas of finance, so I accepted a position as a financial consultant. After a while, I realized how much I enjoyed my work as a financial analyst. So I looked for a financial analyst position. What was your favorite job? The last position I held was my favorite job. I really enjoy all aspects of accounting and auditing. However, I don't want to limit myself to just governmental accounting, so I want a position where I can be doing similar types of work in a larger setting. What was your favorite job? My favorite job was the last position I held in the marketing department. That's why I'm applying for this job. It's similar to my last position and I really enjoyed it. Even though I really like my job, I want to experience the same work for a larger company. That's the primary reason for wanting to leave my current job. Tell me about the best manager you ever had. My favorite manager was a person with a lot of knowledge. She stood her ground firmly and knew the best process to take by analyzing all the information. Tell me about the best manager you ever had. My favorite manager was very trusting and easy to approach. I grew in many ways under this manager, and I valued his method of dealing with directs. I believe in growing employees, and this manager did a great job. Tell me about the best manager you ever had. I had a manager that worked efficiently instead of bossing people around. He set an example of hard work through his actions. I respected that trait and learned to be more like him by working smarter. Tell me about the worst manager you ever had. In my last position, I had a manager who didn't like to give instructions. I managed to figure a lot of it out, but I would have saved a lot of time if my manager gave simple 5-minute overview of the project. Tell me about the worst manager you ever had. I had one manager that was very disorganized. Whenever I asked a question, he would look around his desk for a couple minutes looking for information to give to me. I like to be organized, so this trait really bothered me. Tell me about the worst manager you ever had. One manager didn't like talking to people. He always had his office door closed, and whenever anyone asked a question, he seemed disturbed. He was very intelligent and produced a great deal of work, but as a manager, I believe you should be approachable by your directs. What could you have done to improve your relationship with the manager you didn't like? If I communicated my problems earlier, I feel we both would have benefited. I waited several months before approaching my manager, and after our talk, our relationship got much better. So I could have improved my relationship by talking about problems sooner than later. What could you have done to improve your relationship with the manager you didn't like? I feel I should be more understanding of different work styles. I didn't like my manager not communicating enough, but that didn't mean we couldn't approach him. So I'm learning to work seamlessly with different types of people. What could you have done to improve your relationship with the manager you didn't like? One of my managers gave too much criticism. I value criticism, but hearing something negative every other day was difficult. I think I could have communicated how the criticism affected me in order to improve our relationship. What were the most memorable accomplishments in your last position or in your last career? I remember the day I completed an audit from beginning to end all by myself. Since I was an entry-level auditor, this accomplishment really felt good because it was my first major step. What were the most memorable accomplishments in your last position or in your last career? One day, our director came out of his office asking who wrote up the documentation for ABC firm. I didn't know if he was upset or impressed. I said I did, and he basically said, "Great job," and went back to his office. This was memorable because the director never did this before. What were the most memorable accomplishments in your last position or in your last career? The most memorable accomplishment I had as a sales associate for a software company was closing a deal worth $17 million. This was the second largest order our company ever had, and it felt like hitting a grand slam. Why do you want to leave your current job? Why do you want to leave your current job? I want to find a company with more opportunities. My previous company was very small and didn't have opportunities for growth. After learning about the work environment here, I felt this is exactly the type of place I want to work. Why do you want to leave your current job? My current company is very large and it's difficult to do different tasks. We have routine work that never changes. I want to work in an environment where I can utilize more of my skills. Why do you want to leave your current job? Our family moved to live near a better school district for our children. This area is great and I want to find a job closer to my new home. My previous job was too far away to commute. Where did you tell your boss you were going? Where does your boss think you are? I wasn't required to tell my boss because I used one of my vacation days to be here. I'm really excited to have this interview opportunity, and using a vacation day was very well worth it. Are you currently employed at the last place listed on your resume? No, I'm not currently employed. What is the title of the person you report to? What responsibilities does he or she have? He was a sales manager. His duties included scheduling, customer support, and managing a group of 15 sales associates. What is the title of the person you report to? What responsibilities does he or she have? My manager had a supervisor title. He was in charge of distributing work to staff auditors, reviewing final audits, scheduling business trips, and he also performed audits as well. What is the title of the person you report to? What responsibilities does he or she have? My manager had the title Test Manager. She was in charge of delivering high-quality features for each software application. She planned each project, giving a timeline of completion, worked with management from different groups to make sure quality is assured, and provided direction to our team of 20 testers. In your previous position, how much time did you spend on the phone, or in meetings, or working by yourself, or in a team? In my last position, we had large projects that involved multiple people. We had meetings to discuss the project and worked in teams whenever it involved overlap of feature. After the meeting and working with the team, I was required to finish my work by myself. So it was quite balanced between meetings, teamwork, and working by myself. If you don't leave your current job, what do you imagine you will be doing in several years? I'm confident I'll be in a management position several years from now. In my current position, junior employees ask me many questions and I like to mentor people. My work is very routine and I'm very efficient. I want to find more challenges my work currently doesn't offer. If you don't leave your current job, what do you imagine you will be doing in several years? To tell you the truth, I feel I'll be doing the same thing I'm doing now. I always look for more work and different opportunities, but my current company doesn't have many opportunities for advancement. If you don't leave your current job, what do you imagine you will be doing in several years? I'm a very proactive person and I'll continue to do my job well. I'll always look for opportunities and even create places where I can improve my work. So hopefully in several years I'll be managing people that are in my current position now.
If you're very happy with your current job, why do you want to leave? I like the work I'm doing and I like everyone on my team, but I have a strong desire to learn other aspects I can't learn in my current position. If you're very happy with your current job, why do you want to leave? I have been in my current position for 4 years and I want to gain experiences in other areas. I love my job, but I want to grow more as a professional. If you're very happy with your current job, why do you want to leave? I love to learn new things, and after several years in my current position, I realized I was doing the same thing over and over again most of the time. So the only reason I want to leave my current job is to broaden my knowledge by gaining other experiences. If you have problems or complaints with your current job, why haven't you brought it to their attention? I actually told my manager several times. I told him about my desire to learn new things and take on new challenges, but there aren't many opportunities in my current group. If you have problems or complaints with your current job, why haven't you brought it to their attention? I believe in being straightforward, and I told my manager on numerous occasions that I was interested in taking on more responsibilities. However, my current group doesn't have the opportunities I'm looking for. If you have problems or complaints with your current job, why haven't you brought it to their attention? After working the night shift for a couple of years, I wanted normal working hours. I told my manager about this, but there was no positions available for regular hour shifts. Give me a specific example at your last position where you increased revenue. Give me a specific example at your last position where you made things more efficient. As a sales associate, I do my part in increasing revenue by making more sales. Even if I'm having a good month, I continue to work hard to make sure our company is continually increasing its revenue. Give me a specific example at your last position where you increased revenue. Give me a specific example at your last position where you made things more efficient. It's something small, but in our office, everyone left their monitors and lights on. I simply put up signs to turn off their monitors and to turn off office lights. This really helped, and our VP even told me he appreciated the small effort. Give me a specific example at your last position where you increased revenue. Give me a specific example at your last position where you made things more efficient. We provide many different brochures for our clients, and when we get low on a specific brochure, we have to order each one separately. I created a small tool that automates this process and saved about 30 minutes of work each time we ordered brochures. It was something small, but my manager appreciated it. What do you feel an employer owes an employee? I believe an employer should provide a good work environment and opportunities for growth in return for hard work. What do you feel an employer owes an employee? I believe an employer should respect their employees and treat them fairly. I plan on working hard, and so I should be recognized for my contributions. What do you feel an employer owes an employee? I believe an employer should provide an environment where everyone can succeed. I also believe that opportunities for growth and advancement should be provided by the employer. What do you expect from your manager? The most important thing I want from my manager is constructive feedback so I know where I need to improve. I want to continually grow, and having a good manager will help me achieve my goal. What do you expect from your manager? I expect my manager to provide work that is relevant to both the company and my growth. My manager should know my strengths and also help me work on my weaknesses. What do you expect from your manager? I expect my manager to be a smart person who works hard. If my manager is setting a positive example, I believe I'll be more encouraged to work harder. Having a manager that bosses people around without doing any work is very discouraging. So I expect my manager to lead by example. Would you like to have your boss's job? When I gain a little bit more experience, I'll be looking to find a position that is similar to my manager's job. But for now, I want to continue to learn as an employee while helping the company grow. Would you like to have your boss's job? I'm always learning new things, and in time, I would like to have my boss's position. I believe I'm on track to become a manager, and I'll continue to work hard to prove my abilities to the company. Would you like to have your boss's job? Yes, I have several years of experience, and I also took on projects to learn more about management. I don't necessarily want to replace my manager, but I would like to learn more about management so I can be ready when a position is available. What did you hear about us? What do you know about us? What do you think we do at this company? I heard that ABC Company is the leader in copy machine distribution. ABC Company is a global company, and finally, it's one of the best companies to work for. What did you hear about us? What do you know about us? What do you think we do at this company? I heard ABC Company has a great work environment and a place where strong contributors are rewarded. I want to work for a company with opportunities, and I know ABC Company provides these things. What did you hear about us? What do you know about us? What do you think we do at this company? I read on your website that ABC Company provides accounting services to small and medium-sized corporations. I also know that ABC Company is the leader in tax services in this area. That's why I'm excited to have the opportunity to join this company. What do you know about our product? Do you know what our team is making? There isn't much information about your products yet, but I heard that you are creating new technology to create a more secure database. I worked with databases most of my career, and the thought of more security really interested me. What do you know about our product? Do you know what our team is making? I heard this company is creating a camera lens for deep sea photography. Because my major was in engineering and my hobby is photography, I believe this is the perfect position for me. What do you know about our product? Do you know what our team is making? I hear this group has several functions. It has an incubation team that grows new ideas, and if the product has potential, a new product is formed. I also hear this group creates solutions for companies to entice them to buy more Microsoft products. Have you managed people in any of the positions you've held? Yes. I have 1 year experience in managing 3 people. I distributed work to each member of my team, provided assistance and guidance, and mentored each employee to be a better employee. Have you managed people in any of the positions you've held? I have 3 years of experience managing people. I managed a team from 3 people to a group of 10. Most of my duties as a manager was to make sure our projects were on track and that each employee was completing their work. Have you managed people in any of the positions you've held? I've never managed people yet, but I have 2 years of experience mentoring new employees. I took several courses on management, and I feel I'm ready to take the next step of managing people. Have you managed people in any of the positions you've held? I didn't hold a management position, but I was in charge of several projects where I had to manage a group of 4 workers to complete projects for a 3-month duration each. These projects gave me great experience in managing people. What types of people do you have trouble getting along with? I get along with almost everybody, but I tend to get frustrated at people who always say yes and end up not delivering. I expect honesty and integrity, and saying yes should mean yes. What types of people do you have trouble getting along with? I'm very understanding of different people and different work styles, but I have a hard time with people who only do work that is seen by management. There's so much work that needs to be done, and not everything is seen by the manager, so I get upset when work is neglected. Who do you think are our 2 major competitors? The number 1 competitor to Verizon is Singular. After they merged with AT&T, they became the largest cell phone provider with a 19% market control. The next competitor is Nextel. Although they only have 10% of the market, they are increasing in strength. Who do you think are our 2 major competitors? The 2 competitors of Nokia are Motorola and Samsung. Motorola has a strong presence in the United States, where Samsung is more global. Who do you think are our 2 major competitors? Microsoft is competing with many different companies because Microsoft provides many different types of software. MSN is growing, and AOL is the number 1 competitor for this business, while the Microsoft OS is challenged by Linux because it's free.
Why do you like sales? I like sales because I like talking with people, and I'm good at making people feel comfortable. Why do you like sales? I enjoy sales because it requires strong communication skills, and that's one of my strong traits. I like the challenge of making a sale, and I feel good whenever I make a good sale. Why do you like sales? I like sales because it fits my personality. I enjoy working with all sorts of people, and I like to provide great customer service by answering questions about products professionally. Can you see that stapler? Convince me to buy it. This stapler is the newest model with easier to use features such as quick loading and safety protection. It also comes with a money back guarantee for any reason if you're not satisfied. Can you see that stapler? Convince me to buy it. This stapler is on sale for 30% off. The manufacturer is a new company, so their prices are great right now. They have a great warranty program, and it will save your company a lot of money with a substantial discount. Can you see that stapler? Convince me to buy it. This stapler has the best value. With the 15% lower sticker price, it provides identical functionality with the more expensive brand. It's durable and staples through more paper than the other brands. How long have you been looking for a job? I sent out my resume just last week. I'm very excited to join a company where I can help out. How long have you been looking for a job? I've been looking for about a month now. Because of the slow economy, it's taking a little longer than I expected. But I'm confident that I can be a valuable asset to any company. How long have you been looking for a job? It's been about 2 months now. I wasn't as aggressive in the beginning because I was taking some classes. But now that I'm done with class, I'm really trying now. Why haven't you received any offers so far? What offers have you received so far? I just started interviewing this past week, so it's a little too early to tell. Why haven't you received any offers so far? What offers have you received so far? I recently started looking for a job, but I'm hoping that I'll receive offers soon. Why haven't you received any offers so far? What offers have you received so far? I received one offer from a smaller company, but I want to see what else is out there. I like what this company has to offer, so I'm hoping everything turns out well today. Why haven't you received any offers so far? What offers have you received so far? I've only interviewed with 2 other companies so far, and I have a second interview with one of them. It's too early to tell if I'll be receiving any offers right now, but I'm confident that I will get a couple. Why haven't you received any offers so far? What offers have you received so far? Most of the jobs I have been applying for require more experience than I have. Also, because the job market is rough right now, the competition has been pretty tough. But I plan on self-studying continually, and I know through my diligence that I will get a job soon. If you don't understand your assignment and you can't reach your boss, what would you do? I would investigate the assignment deeper by searching for more information, asking coworkers or other managers to make the smartest decision on how to tackle the assignment. If you don't understand your assignment and you can't reach your boss, what would you do? There are many places I can look for clarity. I would look through some books, or the internet, or my peers, or even other managers. If I try to look for answers, most of the time I can find them. If you don't understand your assignment and you can't reach your boss, what would you do? I would first see what the deadline is and if my manager will be back before the deadline. If not, I would leave a message on my manager's phone. Afterwards, I would ask my peers or other managers to see if they know the assignment. I believe investigating the assignment further will help me understand it. If everyone on the team is a veteran, what will you do to fit in and be a beneficial team member instead of a person who appears to be in training? In this situation, I'll have to ramp up quickly and study notes from previous meetings before attending any. I'll also do a lot of studying to catch up so that I can participate in discussions instead of appearing to be in training. If everyone on the team is a veteran, what will you do to fit in and be a beneficial team member instead of a person who appears to be in training? In the beginning, I'll put a lot of effort in catching up on any existing projects I join. I believe studying a lot in the beginning to be aware of what's going on is very important. If everyone on the team is a veteran, what will you do to fit in and be a beneficial team member instead of a person who appears to be in training? I'll study as much as I can to fit into a group of veterans. I know I'll have many questions along the way, but listening carefully and putting pieces together will allow me to catch up quickly. I know I'll be able to be an effective team player in a short time by following this method. How do you intend to learn what you need to know to perform well for this job? I have experience in learning new concepts without training. I usually look through books or manuals to find answers because I'm good at learning. I'll study relevant materials to help me do my duties well. How do you intend to learn what you need to know to perform well for this job? I have experience in this area, so I won't need much training. However, I know different companies have different ways of doing things. So I'll learn company policies and methods quickly to apply my existing knowledge to do a good job. How do you intend to learn what you need to know to perform well for this job? The first couple weeks are important. I think it's important to study the correct material, ask the right questions, and put in extra effort to learn what I need to know. This is what I usually do to make sure I'll be performing well. If your supervisor tells you to do something that you believe can be done in a different way, what would you do? I will tell my supervisor an alternative way and explain the benefits. If my supervisor is not convinced, then I'll follow his instructions. If your supervisor tells you to do something that you believe can be done in a different way, what would you do? I'll suggest a different way of doing the assignment along with the benefits. If my supervisor disagrees and insists I do it a certain way, I'll follow the instructions. If your supervisor tells you to do something that you believe can be done in a different way, what would you do? I'll suggest a different method and ask my supervisor if I can do this work the new way. If the result will be the same but would potentially save more time, then I believe my manager will allow it. However, if my manager wants it done a certain way for other reasons, I'll follow his or her instructions. If you're told to do something that you feel is illegal, what would you do? I would first verify if it's legal or not. If it's legal, then I would continue with the work. If it's illegal, I would not do the work and tell my manager that this work is illegal. I would also let human resources be aware of the situation. If you're told to do something that you feel is illegal, what would you do? I'd verify if the work was legal or not. If it wasn't legal, then I confront my manager and my manager's manager with this incident. If you're told to do something that you feel is illegal, what would you do? I wouldn't jump to any conclusions. I would rather question my manager to verify if it is illegal or not. If I'm not convinced through facts, then I would investigate through other means. If I find it is illegal, I would not continue with the work and inform human resources of this incident.
If you were unfairly criticized, what would you do? I'd probably ask for clarity on the criticism. I think it's important to accept criticism for self-improvement, but if it's unfair, then I will clear things up by asking for clarity. If you were unfairly criticized, what would you do? When I'm unfairly criticized, I usually think about the criticism and try to view it from a different angle. If I still can't see why I was criticized, then I'll approach the person and initiate a dialogue to resolve the unfair criticism. If you were unfairly criticized, what would you do? I usually use all criticism to help me grow. If I was criticized unfairly, there must be a little truth to it. I'll learn as much as I can from it, but if it was really out of line, I would definitely approach the person and ask for clarity. What are you looking to gain from your next job? I want a position where I'll be challenged. I want to learn a lot of new things and I want to continually grow. So I'm looking for a job that will provide these things for me. What are you looking to gain from your next job? I want to gain experience in many areas of accounting. I want a position where things are not routine and where many of my accounting skills are utilized. What are you looking to gain from your next job? In my next job, I want more opportunities to write automation. In my previous position, we didn't have these opportunities because we outsourced this work to other groups. What aspects of this job interest you the most? I'm very excited about this job because of the variety of different work. I'm well-rounded and it's always exciting when I can use many of my skills for a job. What aspects of this job interest you the most? The most interesting aspect of this job is the product you're working on. I think it's so exciting working on a product that 12 million people use. I want to be on a team where my work will make many people enjoy our product more. What aspects of this job interest you the most? I like the fact that this position requires someone who is detail-oriented. Because we're working with sensitive data, it's important that all the information is perfect. This type of challenge always interests me. If you are given work from your manager that is boring and tedious, what will you do? If it's helping the company in any way, I don't mind doing boring work. If you are given work from your manager that is boring and tedious, what will you do? My responsibility as an employee is to help the company succeed. If the work I'm given will help the company, then I'll do the best I can no matter if it's boring or tedious. If you are given work from your manager that is boring and tedious, what will you do? I don't mind doing boring and tedious work. As long as I don't have to do it for a long duration, such as 6 months, then I really wouldn't have a problem. How long do you plan on staying with this company? To tell you the truth, I have been working and gaining experience to get into this company. This is where I want to be, and I plan on staying a long time if I'm offered the job. How long do you plan on staying with this company? The only time I get bored is if there is no work to do. As long as there's a lot of work, then I'll be happy and stay a long time. I'm a busybody, and I need to do work. How long do you plan on staying with this company? This company has everything I'm looking for. It provides the type of work I love. The employees are all happy, and the environment is great. I plan on staying a long time. How long do you plan on staying with this company? One of my goals is to obtain a position in this company. I know that once I start working here, it'll be for a long time. How do you explain the fact that you frequently change jobs? I see that you haven't stayed with the company for more than 2 years. I have been gaining experience and knowledge to have the minimum requirements to work for this company. My goal is to work for this company, and I'll be working here a long time because this is where I want to be. How do you explain the fact that you frequently change jobs? I see that you haven't stayed with the company for more than 2 years. I planned on staying with my current job for a longer time period, but when this position opened up, I really wanted to apply because this company has everything I need. So even though I change jobs frequently, I'm certain that I love this industry and that this is a great company to work for. I plan on staying a long time. How do you explain the fact that you frequently change jobs? I see that you haven't stayed with the company for more than 2 years. I want to work for a large company that has many opportunities. I didn't receive this in my other companies because they were smaller, but I learned this company has a lot of great work to do and a lot of different opportunities. Tell me about a time you had a big disagreement with your boss. What did you do, and what was the outcome? I never really had a big disagreement with my manager. The only thing I could think of was when I recently got back from a business trip, my manager told me I had to go on another one the next day. In my previous company, it wasn't common to send someone on a business trip immediately, but another employee got sick, so I had to fill in. Tell me about a time you had a big disagreement with your boss. What did you do, and what was the outcome? I had a disagreement with my boss on how to do an assignment. It was easy to resolve by having a discussion on the pros and cons of both methods. We didn't come to any conclusion which way was better, and I ended up performing the work the way my manager wanted. This was because, in case I couldn't finish the assignment, he could easily pick up where I left off. What do you do when there is no work to do? I always try to be productive even if there isn't much work to do. I use my time to find areas of improvement within the office, take time to study new things that will help me on future projects, and volunteer to help other coworkers that might have too much work. What do you do when there is no work to do? Usually, when I have nothing to do, I ask my manager if any of my peers need help. If not, then I usually spend time studying material that will help me on my next project. What do you do when there is no work to do? As a sales associate, there are many times where there is no work, but I always stay busy by cleaning and rearranging the items I'm selling before customers come in. What do you do when there is no work to do? When I have no direct work, I always find side projects, such as thinking about a process of some sort that helps with office efficiency. One time, I created a small tool using MS Word that helped our team speed up the mailing process. What do you do when there are too many things to do? I usually plan, organize, prioritize, and then work real hard. I always keep my cool and work on one item after another. I found that this is efficient instead of worrying about how much work there is to do. What do you do when there are too many things to do? I really like it when there is so much work. I'm a fast and efficient worker, and I like taking challenges that are big. With proper planning and execution, I have always managed to complete all my tasks. What do you do when there are too many things to do? I regain my composure, take a deep breath, and work diligently. If there is a chance that I might not finish something due to the size of the work item, I'll inform my manager and make sure my manager is aware of my situation. What do you do when there are too many things to do? I believe in hard work. A lot can get accomplished by working diligently. In a situation where there are many things to do, I'll reprioritize my work, plan and organize as much as I can and work hard. What do you do when you feel burned out? I think it's important to anticipate being burned out before it happens. But if a deadline requires me to work so much that I end up being burned out, I try to relax myself and get re-energized by not thinking about work at home and watching a good movie. What do you do when you feel burned out? When I feel burned out, I go to the gym and work out. This actually helps me because it moves the focus from my mind to my body. After a good workout, I really feel mentally rejuvenated. What do you do when you feel burned out? I usually use the weekends to engage in my personal hobbies to prevent me from burning out. I like to play tennis and golf, and these activities keep me mentally energized to work hard in the office. How do you manage having so many things to do, such as work, family, and school? How do you balance both your family and your job? With my kids in school, it's really easy to manage my time. I have the full day to myself, and I want to be productive by helping a company grow. How do you manage having so many things to do, such as work, family, and school? How do you balance both your family and your job? I'm very organized and I plan everything I do. This helps me to easily find a balance between family and work. How do you manage having so many things to do, such as work, family, and school? How do you balance both your family and your job? Well, during the day, while my kids are in school, I like to work, and in the evenings, we spend time together doing homework. I really enjoy being busy and managing multiple things in my life.
You've been with one company your entire career. Don't you think you will have a tough time adjusting to a new environment? In my company, my projects change very frequently, and I was required to ramp up on new technologies. I'm also very friendly and like to meet new people, so I think I have an easy time adjusting to a new environment. You've been with one company your entire career. Don't you think you will have a tough time adjusting to a new environment? I actually like being in new environments. I like to travel a lot, and even when I'm in a different country, I have always blended in smoothly. You've been with one company your entire career. Don't you think you will have a tough time adjusting to a new environment? I don't think it will be very difficult. I learned that this company is very diverse and has a great office environment. I feel I'll blend right in and make solid contributions to this company. What have you heard about our company that you didn't like? From my research, I didn't find anything I disliked. This company provides great benefits, works on excellent products, and is listed in the top 100 companies to work for. What have you heard about our company that you didn't like? When I searched for a job, I always look for negative things. However, I didn't find anything that I didn't like. That's why I'm very excited to have this opportunity to work here. What have you heard about our company that you didn't like? I read up on this company thoroughly and even spoke with a friend who works here. I didn't hear anything negative about ABC Company. Is there something I should know before working here? Do you want to work for a small or large company, and why? I want to work for a large company because there are many different opportunities within the company. I also feel a larger company provides better training. Finally, a larger company already has key processes in place to provide employees tools to work efficiently. Do you want to work for a small or large company, and why? I worked for a small company for a year and missed out on a lot of benefits a larger company provides, such as training, structured work environment, and a wider variety of work. So I want to work for a large company. Do you want to work for a small or large company, and why? I want to work for a small company because I feel I have more opportunities to gain valuable experience. I know some friends in large companies and they have specific roles that limit what they are capable of doing. I'm hoping that a small company will have more variety and challenges for each employee. What do you do when you're having difficulty solving a problem? I usually take a short break. I found that this helps me think clearer and oftentimes I end up solving the problem. What do you do when you're having difficulty solving a problem? I break down the problem piece by piece and try to solve the difficult problem step by step. This approach helps me not to get overwhelmed by difficult problems. What do you do when you're having difficulty solving a problem? I always do my best solving difficult problems. If I have trouble, I'll use resources around me such as looking through the internet, asking coworkers, asking my manager, or looking through some books. What do you do when you have a problem with your boss? I'm very open with my manager. I feel it's important that my manager knows how I feel. I always start a conversation and try and solve our differences through professional conversation. What do you do when you have a problem with your boss? When I have a problem with my boss, I don't like to keep it bottled up. I want to resolve problems so that I can work efficiently without distractions. So I always talk to my manager about the problems that I have openly. What do you do when you have a problem with your boss? I deal with different types of people very well, but if I have a problem that affects my work, I will openly tell my manager and the reason why it's bothering me. What do you do when you have a problem with your job? In this situation, I ask myself why I'm having the problem. After identifying it, I work on solving the problems so that I can be more efficient in my work. What do you do when you have a problem with your job? It depends on the specific problem, but in most cases, I'll face the problem that I have with my job and find a solution. If I avoid the problem, it will always be there and my work quality will decrease. So I found that solving the problems immediately helps me in the long term. What do you do when you have a problem with your job? If I have a problem that I can solve, I'll do everything I can to correct it. If the problem is out of my control, I feel it's important to let my manager know what my problems are. What do you do when you have a problem with your job? Whether I'm happy or unhappy, I'll always do my best work. If the problem I have with my job is affecting the quality of my work, I'll identify the problem and then take steps to find solutions. What do you do when you have a problem with a coworker? If I have a problem with a coworker, I believe it's so important to talk to them. Even if I'm the one with the problem, I want to know so that I can be a better teammate. What do you do when you have a problem with a coworker? If I have a problem, I try to approach my coworker and let them know as professionally as possible. If I'm the one with the problem, I'll politely ask what I can do to improve the relationship. I found that proper communication solves many problems. What do you do when you have a problem with a coworker? I've always been told that I'm a great person to work with, but if I were in a situation where I was having a problem, I believe I would work on a relationship by being more understanding. How do you handle conflict? I treat most conflicts the same. I analyze the conflict and create a list of steps I can take to resolve it. By thinking about these steps and taking action, I found that most conflicts are easy to handle. How do you handle conflict? I handle conflicts by analyzing them. I'm a very analytical person, and I feel all problems have a solution. I usually think about the conflict and find ways to deal with it. How do you handle conflict? Whenever I'm confronted with the conflict, I always follow a simple process. I think about what the current conflict is, think of several ways I can deal with this conflict, and then take the best action after my analysis. Have you fired anyone? If so, why? I've never had to fire anyone yet, but if I'm in this situation, I would follow company policy and do it professionally. Have you fired anyone? If so, why? I had to fire one employee who continually failed to complete projects. Before firing this employee, I tried to work with him by motivating, encouraging, and even providing different work. In the end, nothing worked and I had no choice but to let him go. Have you fired anyone? If so, why? The only time I had to fire someone was when an employee was continually late. We had a company policy of giving a verbal warning for the first 3 offenses, and then a written warning after the 3rd offense. I had many discussions about this problem with this employee, but it didn't help. In the end, we had to let him go.
What do you do when a worker is giving the team more problems than helping? I follow a process of helping my coworker out in any way I can. This can include assistance in their portion of the work or by encouragement. If that doesn't work, then we redistribute the work to make sure everything is covered. I believe it's important to let my manager know of the problem as well. What do you do when a worker is giving the team more problems than helping? If the problem is related to a difficult task that a coworker cannot solve, then I'll get all the team members to help out. But if the problem is due to laziness or unwillingness to work, then I'll inform my manager of the problem. It's hard to deal with a worker that puts in great effort but slows down the team. I noticed it is best to tackle the problem early. One way I found that was helpful was to be more firm. This way, the project continues to move forward without so many interruptions due to small arguments. What do you do when a worker is giving the team more problems than helping? When do you know enough is enough? When dealing with a subordinate that doesn't seem to be helping. I know enough is enough when I've exhausted all measures to help this employee grow. I would do my part by providing encouragement, giving extra instructions, mentoring, and giving different types of work. If I exhaust all of these steps, then I know I can't do anything further, and that is when enough is enough. Do you like to work by yourself or with others? That's a tough question. I like the combination of the two. It's great working in teams while getting and sharing ideas with each other, but it's also nice to sit at your desk and work hard productively. I like to do both, so it's hard to choose one over the other. Do you like to work by yourself or with others? If I had to choose one, then I would probably choose to work alone. How do you get along with your subordinates? My relationship with my directs is very good. They're very open and honest with me, and I'm sure they feel they can come to me with any problems. How do you get along with your coworkers? I've always had an easy time getting along with different types of people, so I never had a problem getting along with my coworkers. I consider many of them my friends. How do you get along with your superiors? I've had my share of great managers and mediocre managers, but I've always gotten along with all of them very well. I've rarely had conflicts with them, and if there is an issue, I always talked it over with them. What do you do to stay in shape? I like to take long walks with my dog on a regular basis, and I also go on weekly hikes at a trail near my house. What do you do to stay in shape? I work out at a gym a couple times a week. I like to stay active. What do you do to stay in shape? I play for a co-ed softball team. It's fun and it gives me a little exercise. What do you like to do when you're not in the office? When I'm not in the office, I like to play golf, read magazines, and spend time with my wife. What do you like to do when you're not in the office? Well, I like the piano, so I have piano lessons on a weekly basis. I also like gardening, so I work on my yard a lot. But if I want to relax, I like to watch videos at night. What's the most recent book you read? I just finished The Runaway Jury by John Grisham. I find all of his books very entertaining. What's the most recent book you read? I have a strong interest in World War II, so I was reading a book about Hitler. It's quite interesting to see how he grew up and what led him to his hatred towards the Jews. What is the most recent movie you saw? The last movie I saw was The Last Samurai. I thought it was great. What is the most recent movie you saw? Oh gosh, it's been a while since I've seen a movie. I think it was Spider-Man. I like to spend my time outside, so I don't see movies that often. Did you have any trouble finding this place? No problem at all. I checked for directions on the internet and found it pretty easily. Did you have any trouble finding this place? A little bit. I didn't realize that there was another building back here, so I drove by a couple times, but that's okay. I eventually found it. Will working on weekends be a problem? It shouldn't be a problem at all. I frequently worked on weekends in my other position, especially during tax season. How often is weekend work required here on average? How do you feel about overtime? I don't mind working overtime at all. I know during busy times people are expected to work more, and I'm flexible with my hours, so I won't have a problem. Have you filed for bankruptcy? No, I'm very responsible with money and I have great credit. Do you own or rent your home? I'm currently renting, but I plan on buying my own place next year. Do you own or rent your home? I'm renting right now, but I'll probably buy a house when I get married. Do you have any outside income? I get paid child support from my ex-husband. Do you have any outside income? I have a rental property. Do you have any outside income? No, I do not. Do you earn any income from investments or hobbies? I have a savings account that I earn a little extra income from. Do you earn any income from investments or hobbies? I have some mutual funds that perform about 8% a year. Do you earn any income from investments or hobbies? I have some investments in the stock market. Are you able to make frequent business trips? Are you willing to travel? I know as an auditor that I'll have to make business trips, so I'm definitely willing to travel. Are you able to make frequent business trips? Are you willing to travel? I don't have any problems with traveling. Are you willing to relocate? I guess it would depend on the location and the pay. If everything is the same, I would rather stay here because this is where I grew up, but I would be willing to consider it. Are you willing to relocate? I love change, and I'd definitely be willing to relocate. May I contact your current employer? Yes. Do you have their contact information? May I contact your references? Sure. After the interview, I can email or fax you a list of references. Will that be okay? Is there anything else I should know? Is there anything else you want to add? I don't know if I expressed it that well, but I'm very excited about this position. I'm confident that I can do very well here. Is there anything else I should know? Is there anything else you want to add? One final trait that I have that would be perfect for this position is my organizational skills. I'm very detailed and plan very well. What kind of salary are you looking for? What pay range are you looking for? I'm expecting somewhere between $50,000 and $60,000. What kind of salary are you looking for? What pay range are you looking for? I know that the average pay for this position is roughly around $45,000, but because I have a couple years more experience, I would want something around $48,000 to $50,000. What pay range are you looking for? What kind of salary are you looking for? The job description says that the salary will be around $45,000 to $53,000. I think it's a fair range. That's a high salary for this position. Where did you come up with that figure? I have 3 more years of experience that will help a lot. I also have a college degree that is not stated as a requirement, but if the figure is too high, I would consider something a little less. How much do you currently get paid? I was paid $50,000 a year plus an 8% bonus. How much do you currently get paid? I received $27.50 an hour at my last position. When are you able to start? I will be able to start as early as next Monday. When are you able to start? I have to give my current employer a 2-week notice so I could start immediately after that. Are you considering any other offers right now? I'm not considering any of my offers right now. Are you considering any other offers right now? I was considering an offer I received last week, but I don't think I will be accepting that position. Are you considering any other offers right now? I'm thinking about an offer I have, but I want to keep my options open. Do you have any questions? Does this job usually lead to other positions at the company? Tell me some of the skills that you want in a candidate for this position. What are the people I'll be working with like? What do you like most about this company and why? How is this company doing in comparison with competitors? I know of products X and Y. Does the company plan to introduce any new products? What is the company doing to maintain its market strength? How many employees work for this company? What has been the company's layoff history in recent years? Do you know of any anticipated cutbacks in any departments in the near future? What major problems has the company recently faced? What type of training do you provide here? What do you like best about this company? What position title will I be reporting to? What other departments does this department work closely with? What kind of training should I expect? How long is the training program? How did this position become available? Is a written job description available? Please describe a typical day for this position. How long has this position been available? How many candidates have you interviewed for this position? How many candidates have you interviewed for this position? Do you interview a large number of people before making an offer to a person, or do you make an offer to the first person who is qualified? What type of hardware and software will I be working with? What will my workstation be like? Will it be an office, a cubicle, or a desk? What opportunities for advancement are available here?